to mark the 90th anniversary of the founding of the PLA. And all the members of the Politburo are attending the ceremony, and President Jinping is going to deliver a keynote speech in his capacity as the chairman of the Central Military Commission. And many veteran soldiers are now also attending the ceremony. If you look at the PLA's insignia, you'll find it consists of a roundel with a red star bearing the Chinese characters for H1, referring to the Nanjing Uprising, which began on August the 1st, 1927. And that's the origin of the Army Day, which happens on August the 1st.
Comrades, now I declare the opening of the conference in celebration of the 90th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army. Now please stand up, everyone. We will sing the national anthem together. Please be seated. Today, the Central Committee of the CPC, the City Council, the Central Military Commission is holding this conference in commemoration and in celebration of the 90th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army to review the glorious history of this army under the leadership of the Communist Party of China and its great feats, and to look into the beautiful future of the cause of a strong military and to gather together a strong force to realize the Chinese dream of a strong military. At the present of this conference, we have the Secretary General of the Central Committee of the CPC, Chairman of the People's Republic of China, and the Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Comrade Xi Jinping, and other members of the Standing Committee of the Politburo of the CPC Central Committee. At present, we also have the leading figures of the party and of the nation, and we also have the members of the Central Military Commission, representatives of the veterans, the martyrs' family members, the retirees of the military, the retired militia, and representatives of the heroes, models of the military, of the supporting people who give support to the military, and representatives of the demobilized officers of Model Corps, and also the leading figures of the central government and the central government's different agencies of the Beijing municipality, and representatives of different agencies of the central government, the party, the military, and the social organizations, and also representatives of different democratic affiliations, of the social organizations, of the military, of the armed forces, and of the military's officers and soldiers. Now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Xi Jinping, the Secretary General of the CPC, of the CPC Central Committee, and of the Chairman of the PRC, and the Chairman of the Military Commission of China. Dear comrades and friends, today we are gathered at this very big gathering in celebration of the 90th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of the People's Liberation Army, to review the glorious history of the People's Army under the Communist Party of China, and to look forward into the future of the modernization development of the national defense and the military, and to mobilize the whole party, the whole military, and the whole nation to continue to struggle and to gather together strong force to strengthen the nation and to strengthen the military, together to realize the two centennial dreams and to endeavor persistently for the realization of the Chinese dream, of the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Dear comrades and friends, 9 decades ago, China was in semi-colonial and semi-feudal status as a society. The Chinese nation is in an abyss of suffering featured by poverty and weakness, and the people was in domestic strifes and foreign aggression. To win national independence and the liberation of the people, and to overthrow the imperialism, feudalism, and capitalism, the Chinese people have been fighting ferociously under the leadership of the Communist Party. However, when the Great Revolution was like a raging fire, the counter-revolutionaries of Kuomintang betrayed the revolution and the people, and they raised a butcher's knife against the communists and the revolutionary people. This land, for a period, was covered in bloodshed. The Chinese Communist Party was in a serious danger to be chased away and killed. And the Chinese Revolution was in a very crucial moment. And in this kind of lesson featured by bloodshed, our party realized that without an armed force, we could not fight against armed counter-revolutionaries, and we could not take up the leadership of the Chinese Revolution, and we could not win the victory of the Chinese Revolution, and we could not change the fate of the Chinese people and the Chinese nation. The 1st of August 1927, a gunshot in the city of Nanchang started our party's armed resistance against the Kuomintang counter-revolutionaries. This is a big event in the history of the CPC. It is also a great event in the history of the Chinese Revolution. It is also a great event in the history of the development of the Chinese nation. The first gunshot in the Nanchang city is just like a lightning cracking the night sky. For the Chinese people to see hope of a revolution in adversity, they saw an uprising force. The Nanchang uprising, together with the autumn harvest uprising and the Guangzhou uprising and many other local armed uprisings, marked the beginning of the CPC independently to lead the Revolutionary War and to establish a people's army. And it started a new epoch in the Chinese Revolution. Since then, the People's Army, under the leadership of the CPC, has been devoted themselves to the historical cause of the liberation of the Chinese people and the happiness of the Chinese people, and to the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Since then, they have bonded their fate with the Chinese people and the Chinese nation. Since 9 decades ago, the People's Army experienced wars of different kinds, and they have overcome obstacles of different kinds. They have made great sacrifices, and they have won one victory after another, and they have achieved historical feats for the party and for the people. One of the historical feats is the heroic People's Army in the 22 armed struggle of the party, with its fortitude, with its bravery, with its strategies and tactics, and its fighting spirit. It overcome different kinds of obstacles and difficulties, and it has beaten ferocious enemies of different kinds, and it has achieved victories in the agrarian revolutionary war, the war against the Japanese aggression, and the war of liberation. It helped to overthrow the 3 mountains, and it helped to lay a solid foundation for the new China, where the Chinese people are the masters with their blood and lives. And they helped to change the situation where the Chinese nation was featured by its weakness and being bullied by others. One of the historical feats is that the historical People's Army actively devoted itself to the socialist revolution and development. It helped to protect the motherland, and it helped to safeguard the peace, and it won the victory in the war to resist U.S. aggression and aid Korea, and it has won wars on the border for many times. It showed the might of the nation and the military, and it safeguarded the borders over the land and on the sea, and it protected the newly established people's political power. It has helped to form the status of China as a big power, and it has become a backbone in safeguarding the dignity of the Chinese nation. One of the historical feats is it devoted itself to reform and opening up, and it helped in servicing the reform and the development and the stability of China. It also exercised the defense duties in Hong Kong and Macau, and it effectively helped to cope with different threats against this nation's security. it fights against separatist activities of different kinds. It actively engaged in international military exchanges and cooperations and peacekeeping of the United Nations. It safeguarded the socialist political system under the leadership of the Communist Party. It helped to protect the sovereignty, security, and the national development interests of China. It also helped to protect the major and has become a major force in safeguarding regional and world peace. The People's Army, under the leadership of the party, has been helping with the development of the country, and it has been growing in the different fights. And in heritage, it emphasizes innovation, and in development, it has been modernizing itself, and its modernization and standardization has been improved continuously, and its deterrent and combative power has been strengthened. It has grown from a single service military to different services. It has developed from millets plus muskets to a modernized and informatized strong power. Comrades and friends, since 9 decades ago, the Chinese nation and our country has been growing up. We have scored historical changes, and we have realized leap forward in dignity, in wealth, and in strong power. This is a victory of the Communist Party of China. It's a victory of the Chinese people. It's also a victory of the Chinese military. In this glorious and solemn moment, we will deeply commemorate those leading figures who founded and cultivated this People's Army, including Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai, Liu Shaoqi, Zhu De, Deng Xiaoping, and Peng Dehuai, Liu Bocheng, He Long, Chen Yi, Luo Ronghuan, Xu Xiangqian, Yu Rongzhen, Ye Jianyan, and many other senior revolutionaries and military experts, and their feats will be inscribed in the Chinese history. In this glorious and solemn moment, we think dearly and deeply the martyrs who have devoted their lives to the liberation cause and the development cause of the Chinese socialism. And they will be always remembered for their sacrifice. Hereby, on behalf of the Central Committee of the CPC, the City Council, and the Central Military Commission, I like to extend my congratulations to the officers and the soldiers of the People's Liberation Army, the armed police, and the military people serving their reserve duties, and the militia. And I also like to extend my greetings to the retirees and the veterans who have served the Chinese Revolution, the Chinese construction, and the reform, who have made major contributions. And I also like to extend my greetings to the demobilized veterans and the disabled service people and the family members of martyrs. who have made contributions in different periods. And I also like to express my gratitude to the scientists, engineers, technicians who have served the national defense industries. And I also like to extend and give my respect to people of different ethnic groups who have shown their care and support to the People's Liberation Army. Comrades and friends, in the past 9 decades, in long-term practices, the People's Army has been making progress under the leadership of the Communist Party of China. And they have formed a whole set of principles to govern the military. And they have formed strategies and tactics. And they have formed special, glorious traditions and excellent spirit. This is the trick of our army to grow from victory to victory. And this is the blood vein of the People's Army, which we should never forget. The People's Army could go from victory to victory. It shows the power of the CPC. And Comrade Mao Zedong once pointed out our principle is to have the party to command the military, not the military commanding the party. The absolute leadership of the party on the military as a basic principle and system started in the Nanchang Uprising and started in the Sanwan Reformation. And it got matured in the Gutian meeting, and it's a difference between the military army of China with all the old militaries of China. Millions of the soldiers and officers have always shown their loyalty to the party, and they have been fighting, they have been overcoming difficulties under the leadership of the party, and they have become an elite force featured by the capability to fight and to win. And in the long history of the army, the officers and soldiers quite often say, so long as we follow the party, we will win victory. Loyalty has become a feature of the army, and it has formed the strong bond between the People's Army and the people. It also has formed the strong will of the military to fight for the party and for the people. History shows us that the command should always command the military. It's a fundamental safeguard. So long as we have the party in leadership, the People's Army will have a direct direction and will have the might. And in the path forward, the People's Army will always abide by the rule of the absolute leadership of the party. They will take this as the soul of the military, and they will take it as a root, which they will never abandon. In any situation, they always take the party's banner as its own banner. They take the party's direction as its own direction. They take the party's willpower as its willpower. The People's Army can win victory after victory. It's because it has its idealism as a great power. It is the soul. It is the political soul of the Communist Party of China, and it is the spirit of the People's Army. Deng Xiaoping once pointed out, in very difficult situations, we can fight very well. We can overcome difficulties. Why? This is because we have idealism, we have Marxism, we have communism as a strong faith. In the long march, starting from Jinggangshan to the war against the Japanese aggression, to the war of liberation, in the safeguard of the state sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity, and in the natural disaster relief, in the protection of people's lives and property, the military has always shown its devotion. It has also shown its devotion in the economic development of China and in peacekeeping of the world and different regions. The idealism is it's like a beacon always guiding the military army. History shows that revolutionary idealism can give us a strong power to overcome difficulties. And we are equipped with the Marxist theories. We have a lofty idealism, and that gives us strong willpower to make devotions. And the fortitude is already not the spirit of the People's Army. And it is a torch burning in the hearts of the officers and soldiers. And the People's Army is now unswerved in its lofty idealism. In any situation, they like to fight for the idealism. The People's Army can fight from victory to victory. It shows the great power of reform and innovation. The People's Army's history of development is a history of reform and innovation. In the agrarian land war to the war against the Japanese aggression, from the better troops and the simpler administration, in the war against Japanese aggression, to the 5 field forces during the war of liberation, and numerous adjustments and simpler administration reformation. The army has been reforming in wars, in development, and it has become stronger. The 16 characters in the Red Army period and the protracted war in the war against the Japanese aggression and the 10 military principles and the small-scale ambush and stickiness in the war against the U.S. aggression and to aid Korea, to the adjustments since the founding of the People's Republic of China. The People's Army has always been learning wars in wars and has been exploring rules and principles. And it has written glorious chapters in the world history of military. History shows us revolution, reformation, reform, innovation, and to make progress with the times is a broad road for the military to continuously to grow. The People's Army's power is from reform and innovation, and the military's victory is from reform and innovation. Only by continuous reform and innovation can the military enjoy development, progress, and dynamics. and it then can continue to win victories. And therefore, the People's Army will always be brave in reforms and renovations. In any time, it will not be rigid, and it will not stop in reform. The People's Army can win one victory after another. It shows the great power of the fighting spirit. It is brave enough to fight to win victories. It's not afraid of difficulties. It's not afraid of death. And the history of the People's Army showed many stories of this kind. The 5 martyrs on the mountain of Langya Mountain, the bayonet historic, the bayonet heroic company, the Liu Laozhuang company, and heroes like Dong Chunrui, Qiu Shaoyun, Huang Jiguang, they all showed this kind of fortitude against ferocious enemy. We emphasized 3 non-beliefs. For revolutionary soldiers, we do not believe that there's no tasks we cannot accomplish. There's no difficulties we cannot overcome. There's no enemy which we cannot win victory over. And we take death as going back home. And we believe in bravery. And in this way, we have won the belief, the faith of the party, and we have won the praise of the people. We have won the respect of the world. History shows that the war is not only about materials. It's more about the spirit. Without strong willpower, without the quality to make a sacrifice, we cannot win wars, only by armaments. And
from victory to victory, People's Army has demonstrated the great strength of a revolutionary discipline. The People's Army has long been renowned in the world for strict discipline. From day one of its foundation, the Army has integrated revolutionary resoluteness, political awareness, and strict discipline. With the united will, command, and action, the Army has fulfilled many arduous missions. It is because of the discipline built on high-level political awareness that the Army has never infringed on people's interests. Even if in the face of death, they stick to their posts and willing to die a glorious death. The Army has always been a unified combat force, retaining powerful cohesion, combat capabilities. History tells us that enhancing discipline enables us to be invincible. The strength of the Army not only lies in its number of soldiers and military equipment, but also lies in discipline. Without a strict discipline, our Army will only be a mob. Going forward, the Army should build on iron will with iron discipline. Under no circumstances must the Army obey the commands of the party and march forward with a unified pace. From victory to victory, People's Army has demonstrated the great strength of a military-civilian unity. The People's Army has always shared the same destiny with the people and fight for the people. Wherever there are enemies and hardships, there will be PLA soldiers. Whoever put people on their hearts will be remembered by people. As a popular song goes, the last bowl of rice and the last piece of cloth will be sent to the soldiers. The last kinsman will be sent to join the army. The song vividly embodies the unity between the army and the people. History tells us that when fully supported by people, the People's Army are invincible. As long as we stand on the side of the people, we can win their full and sincere support and build a wall of iron and steel. When going forward, People's Army should remember the fundamental principle of serving the people heart and soul. Under any circumstances, shall we remain People's Army. Comrades and friends, we shall forever remember the glorious splendor of the Army. This has been created with blood and sweat. The historical experience of the Army gained through unrelenting efforts should be carried forward. The historic development of the Army has been driven by loyalty and responsibilities, which will always motivate us to move forward. Since the 18th Party Congress, we have focused on fulfilling the goal of the two 100 years goals and the Chinese dream of rejuvenating the Chinese nation. We put forward the goal of building a powerful army under the party's command with combat readiness and fine work style. We must keep up with the times and innovate military strength and guidelines. We have convened a political work conference in Gutian town and spared no effort to build a clean party and crack down on corruption. We should deepen reform in national defense and army. We have built a new pattern of CMC taking overall commands, combat zones for combat and building different military types. We have reshaped the army and have taken the historical steps to build a military system with Chinese characteristics. The army has become a brand new force in structure, pattern, and organization. We have promoted the fundamental changes of the army. Enhancing combat capabilities is the basic principle and standard. We promote military drills and combat readiness to defend state sovereignty and maritime interests. We should focus on new concepts and real combat. And driven by innovation, we should focus on the construction of military systems to build the army into a high-quality, high-efficiency People's Army. After 5 years of hard work, the People's Army has achieved the restructuring in terms of political ecology, organizational forms, strength, and work style. The People's Army is ready to start a new journey and take a firm step in building a strong army with Chinese characteristics. Friends, comrades, the history has always moved forward. Today's world, we have seen international situation is taking on unprecedented changes. Today's China are witnessing the full-scale development of the construction of socialism with Chinese characteristics. To fulfill the dream of rejuvenating the Chinese nation, we are faced with rare opportunities, but we have laid good foundation and have unlimited confidence. Meanwhile, we must be fully clear that the roads ahead will never be smooth. We will encounter a lot of challenges, major risks, major resistance, and contradictions. We will continue to engage in the great struggle with new historical features. Standing on a new historical point, we are keenly aware that China has stepped out of suffering, and the Chinese people have been liberated because we have a heroic People's Army. If we want to achieve the dream of rejuvenating the Chinese nation, if the Chinese people want to have a better future, we must quicken the pace of building the People's Army into a world-class army. We mustn't forget our own purposes and wishes and continue to march forward to build a strong army with Chinese characteristics. We should forge ahead with our course of strengthening our army. In order to strengthen the army, we must stick to the principle of the party's absolute leadership of the army to ensure the army always follow the party. The party leadership is the guarantee for the army's creativity, combat capabilities, and cohesion. The absolute leadership of the party over the army is the basic feature of the socialism with Chinese characteristics, and it is the absolute and important political advantages of the party and the state. Our army will remain the army of the party and of the people. The army should enhance the political awareness, core awareness, and firmly maintain the authority of the CPC Central Committee and carry forward and implement the party's absolute leadership of the party. For this important principle, we must be clear with firm attitude and resolute actions. There shouldn't be any doubt, hesitation, or ambiguity. If we want to promote our army, we have to stick to the principle of developing party's military theories by integrating the Marxist military theories with the modern Chinese army practice. The development of the People's Army depends on the guidance of the advanced military theories. Since the party's 18th Congress, we put forward a new series of new ideas, new concepts, and new requirements. These are the guidelines and the military theories for guiding the party in the new era. The party should implement the military theories of the party to arm the soldiers and officers with the new guiding principles of the party, so that we can make continuous achievements in our course of building a powerful army. The process of exploring the truth will be never-ending. Theoretical innovation will be never-ending. Strengthening army is an innovative undertaking. We have to adapt to new situations and new challenges. We have to make bold explorations in our practices and theories. We have to enrich our ideas in building a strong army. We should let Marxism military theories to shine in our practices of building a strong army. We have to focus on combat awareness and build a powerful army which can fight and win. In peace, we shouldn't forget the wars and risks. We uphold peace, maintain security, and deter wars. We have many options, but military means will always be the bottom line. The People's Army is an army with strong war capabilities. We should focus on war readiness, and we should work hard toward that goal. We must ensure that when people and the army and the party needs, the army could fight a glorious war and achieve great success. The army should study the military guidelines and research in modern theories and practices. We should understand the modern rules of the law of the wars. We should carry out live drills according to the needs of the war. We should solve the problems in real combat. We should improve our capacities in military training. Chinese people cherish peace. We never invade other countries, but we are confident that we can beat all the aggressors. We will never allow anyone, any organization, any political parties at any time, in any forms, to separate any piece of land from China. Nobody should expect to infringe on China's sovereignty, security, and development interests. People's Army should firmly maintain the leadership of CPC and the socialist system of China, and firmly maintain China's sovereignty, security, development interests, and maintain regional and world peace. In order to build a strong army, we must stick to the principle of building the army through political awareness, reform, science and technology, and the rule of law. We should improve national defense and the modernization of the army. We should implement the work conference, political conference in Gutian, and carry forward the important role of the political work. We should build an army with capabilities, with high morality, iron belief, and iron discipline. We should always remember the nature of the People's Army. The whole army needs to deepen the military reform and the national defense. We should solve the institutional barriers, structural contradictions, and policy issues restricting the development of the national defense and the building of the army. We should improving the Chinese military systems and build a new military force which can win in the information war and fulfill the mission of the Chinese nation. We should implement the strategy of building a strong army through science and technology. We should stick to independent innovation. We should aim at the state-of-the-art technologies of the world. We should deepen our reform, and also we should contribute the Army's power to improving the combat capabilities. We should strengthen the Chinese military system with the Chinese characteristics and fundamental change of the way of managing the army. We should continue to promote the military-civilian integration and build the national strategy and system capabilities which integrate the military and the civilian power. Our party has long been imploring the achievements in developing our economies and coordinating the national defense. This is an important decision from the perspective of national development and security. We should respond to the threats and also to improve China's strategic advantages, which should strengthen the top-level design, and also we should promote institutional and mechanism reform, and we should build a new pattern of integrating different elements, fields. We should have a coordinated and a balanced development of economic development and national defense construction. Our national defense is the defense for all the people. It is our common cause to promote national defense and the modernization of the army. The CPC Central Committee, the state governments, and at all levels should strengthen the national defense and fully support national defense and the reform in military arms. And also we should create better conditions and provide important support to the army. We should stick to the fundamental principle of serving the people heart and soul. The army should always remain a force trusted by the people, supported by the people, and loved by the people. If an army wants to win a war, they have to rely on the people. The root of the people's army is in the people. The great force of the people's war comes from the great force of the people. The whole army needs to put the people in their hearts and firmly remember we are fighting for the people. This is our sacred responsibility. We should firmly protect people's life and also ensure they live a happy life. We should carry forward the fine traditions of closely uniting the people, and will always be the defender of the people's interests. The army should actively participate in local socialist construction. We should respond to disasters and other emergencies and create benefits for the people. The unity between the army and the people is our political advantages. We should carry forward this kind of glorious tradition of mutual support between the people and the army. Friends and comrades, China has always tried to promote world peace and development and maintain world peace. The Chinese army has always been a firm force in maintaining world peace. As always, the Chinese military and army will conduct international military exchanges and cooperation to respond together to international security challenges, and also will fulfill our responsibilities and obligations corresponding to China's international status. We will contribute actively to the building of the common community of destiny. Friends and colleagues and comrades, 90 years of relentless efforts has proved that our course is glorious, our tasks are arduous, our future is bright. The party, the army, and the nation and the people must unite as one to march forward. In our glorious practice of building Chinese socialism with Chinese characteristics, we must continue to write a new chapter and a glorious chapter for a chapter for building a new army, and we should create new glories and achievements in the new historical era. Comrades, just now, General Secretary Xi Jinping delivered an important speech. He looked back, he reviewed the glorious road of the People's Army from small to big, from weak to strong, from victory to victory. He extolled the People's Army's great achievements in liberating the Chinese army and seeking the happiness of the people and the independence of the Chinese nation. He talked about the secrets of the army's success. He also mentioned the course of building a powerful army and build the army into a world-class army. We have to understand our basic requirements. We need to learn Mr. Xi's speech and implement his speech. Let's work closely around the CPC Central Committee with Mr. Xi Jinping at the core. We mustn't forget our original wishes. We'll continue to go in the road of building the army, powerful army with Chinese characteristics. We will fully achieve the goal of building a strong army in the new era. And also, we will work to achieve the Chinese dream of rejuvenating the Chinese nation. Now, let's all stand up. Please play the anthem of the PLA Army. This is the end of the conference celebrating the 90th anniversary of the PLA Army. Thank you.